Welcome to This Explainer. Today, we're tackling something that honestly affects so many of us. We're going to dive straight into why you might have these massive, incredible dreams, but you just constantly find yourself frozen in place. Choosing to mindlessly scroll on your phone instead of doing the actual work required to get there. It's a hugely frustrating place to be. But today, we're going to decode exactly why it happens.
Why do we dream big but do nothing? Seriously, if you've ever asked yourself this, I want you to know you are absolutely not alone in this frustrating paradox. You can vividly imagine the success, right? You know you're capable of doing more, but when it's time to execute, it feels like you just can't make yourself move. You're ambitious, you're full of ideas, yet somehow you're stuck completely in place. And it creates this agonizing daily cycle of avoidance. You wake up in the morning with the absolute best of intentions. You tell yourself, today is the day. But then midday hits. You check your phone just for a second, and suddenly hours of potential work turn into scrolling and delaying. By nightfall, you're lying in bed feeling guilty, disappointed in yourself, and making an empty promise that tomorrow is going to be different. And then the whole cycle just repeats itself.
Section 1. Your brain on survival mode, the biology of avoidance.
Okay, so here's the secret. This inaction you're experiencing, it doesn't mean you're lacking intelligence or talent. It's actually about deeply ingrained psychology. The crucial concept here is survival mode. You see, you're currently living in a constant state of conflict. The ambitious part of you wants to achieve great things, sure, but your brain has an evolutionary design, a primitive part that fiercely wants safety, ease, and to protect you from perceived threats. Right now, the part that wants comfort is winning simply because your brain is doing exactly what it was built to do: avoid pain and seek immediate pleasure.
Think about it. When you think about your big goals, your brain literally registers them as a physical threat. It sees all that effort, the uncertainty, the very real possibility of failure or rejection. So what does it do? It offers you a way out, an easier option, like scrolling on your phone. When you choose that safety, your brain rewards you with a massive dopamine hit. You feel better instantly, the discomfort vanishes, and your brain logs that as a total win. But here's the massive problem with that quick dopamine hit. You are building a habit of avoidance. While your primitive brain thinks it's doing a great job protecting you from short-term discomfort, it is completely sabotaging your future. Every single day you choose to avoid your goals, you're literally teaching your brain that your dreams just don't matter. By choosing comfort over action, you're steadily stealing your own long-term happiness.
Moving on to Section 2. Motivation and perfectionism are myths. Reframing the excuses. Perfectionism is fear disguised as excellence. Wow. You probably think you're just waiting for the ideal conditions, the perfect business plan, or the right moment to finally feel ready. But the truth is, ready never comes. Your brain is actually using perfectionism as a brilliant, highly sophisticated excuse to never start. Why? Because if you never actually start, you can never fail. It keeps you totally safe in the fantasy.
And I bet you're looking at your life and thinking, I just need more motivation, right? Well, actually, scratch that. Motivation is just a feeling, and like all feelings, it's completely fleeting and unreliable. You simply cannot build a life on a feeling. What you actually need to build a life is discipline. Discipline isn't some magical trait you're born with. It's a structured system built one small, intentional decision at a time.
Because deep down, a lot of this paralysis comes from a very specific fear. You're terrified that if you try and fail, it's going to prove you aren't as special or capable as you thought you were. But you have to realize something absolutely crucial. Inaction is the opposite of success. You need to completely reframe how you view this. When you fail, you actually learn something. It gives you data. But when you do nothing, you learn absolutely nothing. Literally every successful person you admire took imperfect action while you are still sitting around waiting to feel ready.
Section 3. Building discipline through small actions, the mechanics of action.
So to actually break this paralyzing cycle, you have to accept a hard truth. You are never going to wake up bursting with the energy to do hard things. You just have to do them anyway. Step 1, pick one small thing. Stop letting perfectionism tell you that you need to change your entire life overnight. Just pick one tiny 15-minute action to take today. Step 2, do it despite the heavy resistance you feel. Maybe it's writing a single paragraph or making just one phone call. And step 3, repeat it tomorrow. You aren't trying to be perfect right now. You're just trying to be consistent, because consistency is what actually rewires the brain. And look, I have to be completely honest with you here. Discipline feels terrible at first.
When you sit down to do that 15-minute task, your brain is going to fight you tooth and nail. It'll give you every single excuse in the book to run away and seek comfort. But if you sit there and do the work anyway, something magical happens. After a few times, that resistance will eventually get quieter. Your brain starts to realize that the discomfort isn't actually going to kill you, and that muscle of discipline really begins to grow.
Section 4. Designing your environment for success. Systems over willpower.
Listen, taking action is nearly impossible if your environment is constantly working against you. This is not a willpower problem. It's a design problem. Turn off those notifications, put your phone in a totally different room, clean your desk. Successful people don't have magical superhuman willpower. They simply set up their environment using rigid rules just like these. They remove the temptations so that the default action, the absolute easiest thing to do in that space, is always the productive action. Every distraction you remove is a decision you don't have to make, which saves all your energy for your actual goals.
Now, you might not want to hear this one, especially while you're engaging with an explainer right now, but it is vital. Stop consuming content, start executing. Constantly consuming productivity content, reading articles, listening to motivational speakers, it feels like progress, doesn't it? But it's actually just another brilliant form of avoidance. It's your brain tricking you into thinking that learning about the work is the same thing as actually doing the work. You don't need more information. You already know what to do. Of course, progress is never a straight line. You're going to mess up, you're going to have days where you completely fall back into old scrolling habits, and when you do, you must practice self-compassion. Stop beating yourself up. Guilt and shame do not motivate you. They literally only make the avoidance worse. Self-compassion and forgiveness aren't about letting yourself off the hook, okay? They give you the permission to simply try again tomorrow without carrying the heavy, paralyzing weight of past failures. Which brings us to our final point. You've seen the biology, you know the excuses, and you have the steps. So will you close this explainer and take one step? Will you stop watching, stop wishing, and finally take that one small 15-minute action today? Because ambition without action is just a fantasy. It's time to prove to your brain that you're serious this time and start making your dreams real. The choice is entirely yours.